There's people here. Well, our two boys, we pay for our two boys. Like you pay for Stuart. Oh, I see.
Of time. In this house of the Father, each pharaoh thought of himself as a son, and wished to leave his mark upon it.
Each added, superimposed, overdid, outdid, through a span of 20 centuries.
The result is this fabulous labyrinth of facades and passages, esplanades and corridors, perspectives and detours, to which only priests and pharaoh had access. The city of God was a fortress, where the whole garrison of mystic votaries watched over the great divine scheme.
Holds the shepherd's crook and gathers in the dust of the stars. His left hand fondles a wild ram walking with him. He is the God of the first day. It is he who is called Ammon.
I have measured these crumbling avenues in every direction, these tumbled esplanades, these terraces, and these sanctuaries. I found the ancient flood peaks of the Nile, inscribed on a scale which it's only fitting to call nilometer to describe a pillar, on a gigantic scale. Most of these pylons are hollow, honeycombed with inner stairways leading to the ramparts of heaven. These pylons have exterior sockets into which festive banners were fixed with hooks of bronze. But don't try to count the columns, the colossi, the sphinxes, the obelisks overlighted. The only land above the floodwaters, that men have built the city of God to the glory of his creation.
At the time of its full splendor, this citadel could only be reached by a royal canal and a sacred avenue. The pharaoh, aboard his barge of glory, could moor here, welcomed on the holy quayside in the shade of the sycamores by the pontiff and his numberless retinue of people.
Do not be overwhelmed by the sheer size of these ruins.
The citadel that arose here was not designed on the scale of men, but on the grand scale of God, from whom all things flowed. The drought and the flood, the granules and the plagues, dreams and power, death and survival.
The great French archaeologist Jean Karnak, who had awakened Catholic Twittering farmyard at the heart of the sixth rather in the manner of his community. When he came there, was amazed. This is
all the pomp and magnificence of the pharaohs appears at Karnak. All the noblest and finest works of man. No other ancient people has conceived the art of architecture on so large, grandiose, and sublime a scale.
Question that you are whispering in your hearts. Who art thou, Ammon? The answer would seep from these walls, these lintels, these pedestals, these secret chambers, these piled ruins. For the answer is written everywhere, in 1,000 different hieroglyphics.
alone, wearing a royal headdress of vulture feathers. Near to the father and the mother is the son, Karnak, standing rigid as a mummy, with a crescent moon picked out upon his oblong head. They made up the Karnak. I, Ramesses III, conceived that more than one resting place was needed for the sacred barks of the Holy Family. So, midway between the sanctuary and the river, I brought into being this edifice, a veritable temple with pylons guarded by colossi, peristyle courtyard, pillared hall, and sanctuary. Henceforth, it shall be here that the 40 tonsured priests, in 8 ranks of 5, shall halt, bearing the ark of God along the way to the land of Spain, when the time comes for the gods' journey to Luxor, for the festival unfolded upon the high rock.
Yet one day, even the temple of Ramesses III was no more than an edifice in the corner of the vast courtyard where we are this evening. The pharaohs came and went. The new year returned in mid-July, with the impassive rising of the water, the pedestal of God.
It is the throne of the pharaoh, the instrument of war and building. The civilization that erected the columns and colossi at Karnak was a river civilization.
It was by bark with the rose-colored granite, the diamonds and alabaster were put in. Each flood bearing tons of raw stone shaped into the everlasting
In which they wished to immortalize the bending of a reed or the drooping wing of a cormorant.
Little now remains, but a specimen of the papyrus-capped gracious colonnade and an alabaster block that served as an altar for the divine ark.
Second pylon you are about to pass.
Is the second. I built this marvelous gate leading to the chambers of God. The panels are of genuine cedar of the Lebanon, lined with ancient
Thick with the inscriptions of signatures and prayers. Let's dream in this forest of symbols.
Egyptologist Jean Payon, when he himself came here.
Imagination fails and falls lifeless at the feet of these 134 columns of the Karnak hypostyle.
Part of the walls and columns were released. The decoration was completed by Ramesses II, who used not rubies this time, but something use.
The function of this chamber is essentially both religious and imperial. The physical presence of Ammon was there in the form of a...
Awake, Karnak, queen of the dwellings of the gods and goddesses that inhabit her. Awake, gods and goddesses, to the beauty of this new day. Hail to thee, Ammon, lord of Thebes, lord of lords, master of terror, and king of Ka.
Ammon, King of heaven, creator of the stars. Thou hast thrown open the horizons and brought all the gods into being.
I worship thee, Ammon.
Thou, the great hawk, thou who givest the breath of life to all things, and instillest joy in the hearts of men.
O Ammon, give me strength and joy.
I behalve vanmiddag. As long as I have my camera, right?
Say.
I need to take the one.
But the history of reigns and events seems so insignificant compared to the imperishable testimony of faith. Men are so made that they remember better the invisible than the real.
2,000 years of royal annals, festivals, mourning, battles, love stories, intrigues, expeditions, mingle here like the myriad leaves of a tree.
This sacred lake, on the banks of which you have come to dream, for one can only understand by dreaming, this mirror set in the rock has reflected the finest firework display of antiquity.
At the foot of the pyramids arose again, here upon the Acropolis of the high valley over which Ammon.
And what did the archaeologist Champollion say?
Thebes is the greatest word in any language.
Along the horizon of the east bank, as far as your eyes can see.
Long contemplated the great construction site of Karnak, ceaselessly humming with the activity of their successors.
This is the grand archaeological site where they all brought their stone and their prayers, ceaselessly reshaped. It is much more than just a temple. The pharaoh drew from it his legitimacy, his crown, and his traditional name. And if his earthly life was short, since he died in his adolescence, his posthumous glory eclipses that of all the others. For his name is Tutankhamun.
Torn from their native land, today obelisks rise in all the capitals of the modern world. In Rome, Paris, London, Istanbul, New York.
Above the vain tumult of cities, these stones stand